Hello and welcome to this special reading for the full moon that we have coming up in Sagittarius. The full moon will be at her peak on Monday, the 17th of June. So for this reading, I'm going to give you two choices because a full moon is when the moon stands across the sky from the sun. And so together they create a thread. And we often will find ourselves either standing with the moon or standing with the sun. But there's power in being able to look across the sky at what the other is saying. Okay, so your choices are going to be based on where your energy naturally stands. And I'm going to encourage you to look across the way to see how you could use the other end of that thread to assist you. And I will say that the energies have been particularly intense from my perspective since the Gemini new moon that we had earlier this month. And that was, I think, around the 4th was the new moon. And Gemini is an energy that breaks open lots of curiosity, lots of options, and speed. Everything's speeding up. And it can feel like it's a little chaotic, where there's a lot happening and like the ground is literally shifting underneath us. And then in terms of the daily readings that I've been putting up on my Facebook page, there's a very clear pattern of needing to look to ourselves and our own inner wisdom, our own intuition, our gut feeling about things to create kind of a new foundation for ourselves. And this is just indicative of the energies on the planet right now are shifting. And you don't have to be into the woo-woo stuff. You don't have to watch a bunch of card readings. You don't have to, listen to various people on YouTube if you're not into that kind of thing. It's okay. Just I ask you to reflect on your own life and what has been happening even since the beginning of this month. Have you experienced kind of some shifts, and that they don't have to be negative. Some shifts though, and changes in your thinking, and maybe some openings of, geez, I never thought I'd be interested in going in that direction, or even contemplating that or something as an option for myself, whether it's in terms of your work, your relationships, your home life, your hobbies, your friends. I just feel this Gemini new moon really opened up a whole portal of possibilities for us and literally kind of cracked our brains open, because our brain and our ego structure is purposeful and is a wonderful thing. But it can also keep us trapped. It can make us very small, and it can keep us in a box in order to keep us safe. And astrologically, those of you who have been listening to me for a while, I keep harping on the fact that Uranus is moving through the sign of Taurus. Taurus is what we look to as our grounding and our stability and our safety. And that is, Uranus is the planet of purposeful disruption, of knowing that we are here on this earth we're here for expansion. We're here to, I don't believe, to learn lessons as much as just experience. And the way you get experience is through expanding into new opportunities that come your way, whether that's in relationships, again, work, home, friends, all those things I listed, any area of your life. So I'd like you to reflect on the fact, have you experienced some kind of an opening, like almost cracking open an egg? That's how I feel. Our brains are getting cracked open, like, oh, well, I never considered that I could maybe do that. And maybe it's a whole other structure for you. Maybe if you're thinking about transitioning jobs or something, like, oh, well, I could get 2 part-time jobs instead of 1 full-time job, and end up making more money, but actually having more time to myself to do the things that I love to do. And maybe there's more flexibility there, and maybe then I could change on the fly. And, we just never know what we're going to be open to. So, with this Sagittarian full moon, this to me marks kind of a culmination of that energy that started with the Gemini new moon. And Gemini and Sagittarius are linked because Sag is kind of what I call the higher octave of Gemini energy. They are directly across the sky from one another. So this too is pretty darn meaningful. And it's in terms of all of the energy of Sag and Gemini has to do with the mind and how we go about thinking about our world. And the Sag energy that this full moon brings up, and full moon, remember, is culmination. You deciding to move forward on a decision that has only cracked open since this Gemini energy started at the beginning of the month. Or perhaps even, last month, but really culminating around June 4th-ish. And so Sag energy also, the important theme here is freedom. I always think of horses when I think of Sagittarius energy, because Sagittarius is the centaur of the zodiac, half man and half horse. And it's that use of the brain and the ego structure and our senses, everything that's great about us as humans, working alongside this level. Think about horses for a minute, and I'm talking like wild horses galloping across these plains in search of water, in search of food, in search of some shelter, and being able to dip away from the sun for a little bit. This is the kind of energy, it's being able to work side by side with not only our human structure, but that freedom of spirit to go towards what makes us feel passionate. And most of all, a keynote of this full moon is what we believe in, what we really believe in, and to be open enough to allow ourselves to break into something completely new that in the end gives us more freedom and less of this living in a box and like feeling like we have to make a certain choice because that's just what you do, either at this stage of life or when you get out of high school or when you get out of college or when you're this age or when you're married, that you have to have 2.3 kids and the white picket fence, and all of that is getting cleaned out. I literally can feel it. That's why this message of finding your own version of a solid foundation is so important. Okay, so with that short intro, I'm going to get into the two choices. Here's your choices. Are the moon or the sun? Just very simply, which calls to you? They have different qualities in the sky, don't they? Sometimes with the sun, we can't see it at all. It's behind clouds or overcast days. And sometimes with the moon at new moon time, we also cannot see her. Or if there is cloud cover in the sky, we cannot see the moon. But we know the light of both is still there, no matter what. And that's the operating principle of the Blue Sky Shop. So it's our task, it's our quest to find that light, even if it's kind of not really clear. Because I feel this full moon is going to give you some clarity to make a decision. And it could be a decision around something you never thought you'd do. Really breaking into this, again, the centaur. You're not only just taking a fresh idea that Gemini new moon might have given you, but you're actually beginning to think about acting on it, because Sagittarius is a fire sign, and fire has to do with move. Off we go. We're taking off. I'm filled with passion and I'm going to make it happen. It's a momentum. There's action involved, and we with our bodies and our minds are going forward, but it's based on sort of a a higher octave principle. It's something that we've come to after thinking about all the possibilities. We're going to a new level. We're ready to say, I think I'll take this on as an operating principle, and I think I'm gonna make that decision, and I'm gonna take the step forward to get going on that, and to just trust that things are gonna things will fall into place. The energy is there to support you, and if you feel led to something, all I can tell you is that that's real. There's a reason that you're led to look into becoming an accountant, or to take up a certain new hobby, or to all of a sudden start swimming as a form of exercise. There is a reason that passion and interest and inspiration come up within you. That is your spirit talking to you. It's not our mind mechanically saying, I need to be an accountant. We're not robotic like that. We let spirit move us to things. So pay attention to that. I think something big is culminating, and you're taking a step towards it, even if it once, and by once I mean that could be like maybe a month ago, even if it once, a month ago, a year ago, whatever, seemed outlandish. All of a sudden it seems like quite plausible. And I'll tell you right here, whatever it is totally plausible, because you're being led to it by yourself, by your own energy, your own inner spirit that sees no bounds, that sees no rules, that sees only what brings you joy and increased levels of passion, which then fulfill the ultimate mission of why we're all here, which is to gather experience and therefore expand. Okay? So, moon, sun. All right? We're going to start with the moon because this is a full moon reading in Sagittarius, okay? So we're starting with the moon. And what we've got here for the moon symbol, well, first of all, I'll tell you that the energy of this full moon, when I add up all the digits of where the moon is, it is a 6 energy in numerology. And that is the energy of being a caregiver, like the number 6, a mommy with a big pregnant belly, and she's got her hands clasped underneath her belly. It is a sense of caring for oneself, of really caring about your life and caring where you're going. It is your shop to watch. Nobody else's job, and to be quite honest, nobody else cares about your shop. You need to run your shop. The experience of you and the experience you want to offer to other people when they cross over your threshold. Okay, so the 6 energy, caring about your own life and reestablishing balance. There it is again. I said that in the intro. It's been coming up for weeks. We're reestablishing a new normal here. So things could be a little shaky under your feet. But you've got to trust what you feel led to, what you feel like you're interested in, and know that inspiration is the very thing that is going to offer you a new level of balance in your life. So the symbol for the moon, if you picked the moon, that is Sagittarius 26, and it reads a flag bearer in a battle. And this symbol, as with the sun, the 2 plus 6 for Sagittarius 26 is 8. And that's about reevaluation. It's like you come to a new truth. And it's the business-minded leader, which is, I'm making a decision and I'm moving forward. Okay, it carries that energy here. And Sag, as I said, is all about sort of operating from a higher octave. It's a whole new philosophy. It's a breaking out of the bounds. It's very much based on, I need to expand myself. I have been in a box for too long. I have been following the rules for too long. And by the way, they're not even my rules. They're somebody else's. And Sagittarian energy will not have that. Sag is like, I am breaking out of here. I can't stand being in a box. This is why Sag is one of my very favorite energies. Yep, I always say it. Sag, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Those are my three favorites. Hands down. So this energy of a flag bearer in a battle, what I get from this is that it's time for you, because the flag bearer in a battle is like, I think about Outlander here, and they're carrying the Scottish flag into battle, and that flag is sort of at the front. You're at the forefront of this movement, and it's a movement. Think about what battle and war is all about. It's about fighting for freedoms. It's about, being able to establish there's a new common ground that is sought after. I mean, that's the high vibration of battle. I'm not really a person that loves that word, but what I sense from it, from the moon, and the moon is your emotional inner wisdom, and it's ready to enter some new territory, and it's ready to enter it in a way that is the most balanced that you've ever felt. And that you have to look within. That's what the moon is telling you. You've got to look within to find your way into this new territory. You're finding your way there, and the flag bearer lets everybody know, this is where I'm headed. And remember, we're talking about the energy of 8 for this symbol, Sag 26. So you're reevaluating your life. You're like, yep, I see this over here and that over there. And this isn't working because I'm feeling nothing but conflict energy. And the Sag energy says to you, there is another way, but you can't be on this plane. You got to be up here. Like the flag is for the flag bearer. It's up here so that eyes can be cast up here. And just as in the principles of the Blue Sky Shop, my business, we can't get out of the box. We can't get out of the conflict. We can't get out of the looking at what disempowers us if we're eyes pointed and mind pointed down here. We're looking at the weeds and we're just walking around the same path over and over. And occasionally we get stuck in the mud, and then we swear. And then we're like, why? Why does this always happen? And there's no, spirit is trying so hard. Your spirit, okay? This inspired part of you is always there, and it just wants to go, right? Look up and out. And the Sag full moon for you is saying that is the energy you want to go towards. Just like a flag bearer, the focus is not really on the flag bearer, it's the flag that they carry. Okay, it's look up, and it's sort of a pronouncing of, I'm moving in this direction because I feel it within me. That's the moon. You feel it within you. So both cards for sun and moon are from the Fairy Forest deck. This deck has been coming up over and over also. I douse every time fresh for each reading using all my decks, and this is the one that keeps coming up. And when I was shuffling this to find your card, this card just went boom right out from my hands. It felt like mic drop, just like poof. Yep. So I haven't looked at these. It is your time. You have the Golden Unicorn, and this is card number 43, which is a 7 energy when you add those up. And 7 is about a new truth. Okay? It's a new time. And the Golden Unicorn says protector, guardian, champion. Just like the flag bearer who is so proud to move forward in this direction, to seek new lands, to go ahead, and it's gonna feel bumpy. We're talking about a flag bearer in a battle. there is always, just like when a rocket is taking off, that takeoff, or when we're all in an airplane and we're going through takeoff, the whole cabin is shaking, and that takeoff is always a little bumpy and a little bit unsettling, because we're going to new territory. But what this tells me is absolutely you have got this. And please move forward with whatever you're thinking of, because it's like it's your golden time. And I feel like this is just saying you are the champion of whatever this thing is that new options you've been considering. It's your time, and it's very powerful. Like I said, it was like mic drop. It was just, the cards were so strong and solid when they just fell, and this is the one that wanted to come forward. And so, and remember, a part of the energy is that the moon stands across the sky from the sun. So the sun, therefore, across the sky is your energy saying, it's time to take action. You have to, the call here is to trust what you're feeling inside the moon, that inspiration, and the sun across the way is pulling you towards, boom, this is a brand new start. Okay? And you've got to take action. That's the energy of the sun. And you have a Sagittarian symbol, fire. That's action. It's time to take action. It's not, you're going to continue to fine tune whatever this is, but I would say it's just, to me, success is assured, and just know that you're actually on more solid ground than you may even think you are in whatever you've been thinking about. Again, no matter how outlandish it may have seemed just a few weeks ago, that's how big these energies are coming into the earth. And I say it, they're coming into the earth from our universe, from our cosmos. They're coming in, and also the earth within herself, within Gaia, is shifting and emanating energies. So we're getting it both ways, incoming and from within, and affecting us, those of us who have our feet on the earth every day, all day. So trust what you're feeling drawn to, okay? And proclaim it, and be the business-minded leader in moving forward. All right, there's the moon. If you're drawn to the sun, this is across the sky from the moon. And again, as I mentioned, for this reading, we have a 6 energy, because I added up all of the exact digits of the moon. And that energy is about being a caregiver and about reestablishing balance. That theme of reestablishing balance has been throughout. It has been, I've had it for weeks now. And it's because of the shifting energies on the planet. And we're shifting in the process. And with this culmination energy that I feel something got stirred up at the time of the Gemini new moon on or around June 4th. Now we're culminating into something. And so the sun, if that's calling to you, is at Gemini 26, which reads, frost-covered trees against winter skies. And I'm getting a feeling of a very similar message to the moon, in that what I was saying for that part of the reading is we box ourselves in when we look at what is. When we look down and we see we get so focused on the sludge of life, and it's like you're out in this huge field, and you're just looking down, and you're just walking this path round and round and round and round and round and round, and you're just like, I can't. You're either bored, or you find yourself being bored, or you're just so fed up with feeling like you can't exert your creativity, or like some other force or person is putting you in a box. And we are the only ones that put ourselves there. And with this symbol for you that picked the sun, think about that refreshing nature. And I mean, those of us who live in the Northeast can see this quite clearly because we have it for so many months of the year. Think about that a fresh snowfall has just happened the night before, and you awake early, and you look outside once the sun comes up, and you're able to see this brilliant blue sky, and the trees are all just covered by this magical snow that glistens and glitters like glitter with the sun. And the promise of this is that freshness, that beginning anew in your energy. That's what the sun represents. Your vitality, your ability to go forward. And you have enough passion and drive, and it's like a peppermint patty moment is what I call this energy that I'm feeling. But there's a sense of, so you picked the sun, so this is where you're standing in this configuration of the moon and the sun. You're standing there and you're looking up, and use that ability to look up instead of down and going round and round and round in the same spot. Use that energy to look up, to feel the refreshment and the invigoration of your life. And it can be now, or it could be now, or it could be now. It could be moment to moment. And the sun is invigorating you in that way to like, whoa, it could be, I could do this and I could do that. I feel this sense of creativity and freshness and just like, wow, it just wants to go. All right. But almost like there's so much possibility and such that's available. That's the way I feel your energy that's wanted for you. Like this is what's been stirring since this new moon in Gemini earlier this month. And so use that invigoration, but remember that the moon, because the sun and the moon are directly opposing each other, the moon is across the way, and the moon is the star of this show. It's the full moon. So the sun is illuminating. There is this illumination of moon, which is the inner wisdom. That you've got the brain power and the sensing and the creativity and the use of your hands, your mind. You've got that all going. And if you don't realize that, that's what the sun is trying to tell you. Like, you've got all this. And you're looking up and you're seeing that fresh winter sky, bright blue, and these gorgeous trees that have this encrusting of all white and crystallized and beautiful icy blue that pops out, and silver. And those days, if you don't live in the Northeast, I mean, I personally find them quite magical when we've had a fresh snow. It's like, wow, it's just, there isn't a track on the snow, and it's just glistening. It's so beautiful. And you just feel like the world is all new, even though in the winter everything in nature kind of goes dormant. It's like there is a freshness in a different form. And that's what I feel, is there's a different form of freshness that you are jonesed up and ready in terms of your action. But that the reevaluation and the decision to move forward as a business-minded leader, which is the 8 energy, you have to remember that the moon is part of the story here. You've got the vim and the vigor, but the moon is calling you to look within, to say, all right, so there's a lot of options. But what am I drawn to? And there's a feeling of it is a fresh new day. And that peppermint patty feeling. and the deliciousness of life. But it's almost like I feel this scattering of like, wow, it's a big, bright, beautiful sky, and there's so much, and big sun energy. But the moon is calling you to come into this place of like, yeah, but what is my, and I'll share with you, the moon symbol is a flag bearer in a battle. You're carrying a certain flag. What is it for this new moment, this new momentum you want to get going? You clearly want to take action, and you're ready, you're poised. But what is that? And you got to look within. You're not going to be able to find it out by using your brain and like, okay, I'm going to study this, and then I'm going to study that, this, and this, and this, and this. And then I'm going to use my brain to cognize what is the one. This has to be led by spirit. That's why the moon is the star here, okay, of this story. This has to be your spirit raising up a flag and saying, in the midst of all this chaos of creativity, which sometimes creativity can be like that, sometimes possibility and inspiration can be downright overwhelming. So the spirit within you wants to raise a flag up and say, this is the one. We're honing in, okay? So for both moon and sun, I used the Fairy Forest deck, wanted to come forward for both of these readings. And your card that came out was a little more gentle and subdued than the moon card, which was like a mic drop. So you have Cunning Woman. Let you take a look at that. Lots of red and orange energy here. I feel that passion, which is the sun. And this says silent, observant, wily. And it is a 1. It's the card number 1. So it's a fresh new start. But the thing with the Cunning Woman is she's not out here trying everything. She's back, she's hiding, but she's like in the bushes here. She's in the forest. She's taken a step back and she's waiting, she's observing for a signal, for a sign, for that flag to raise up and say, this is it. Because otherwise I feel like you could expend your energy in every direction and feel like you're not getting anywhere. Okay, and the moon wants to help you out as the partner to the sun. I never see an opposition like that as a negative thing. I see it as a superpower. And you're the one standing here on the earth in between the two. That's why the full moon is so potent. It calls us within to take a step back and to be the wily fox. You see the fox in the corner by my finger. The fox is observant, and the fox is very smart, very keen. You know how to use your brain. You know how to use your creativity. But it's a matter of we want to begin to hone and use our energy more efficiently and effectively, and the word I'm getting is targeted. This is hearkening to my marketing background here a little bit. To really hone in, like that flag that the moon is raising, that we really want to get clear on the certain direction that we want to go and not just be willy-nilly everywhere. And the other thing I want to say that's really interesting about those of you that picked the sun is this is my used copy. It was very hard to find this book of the astrological mandala, which gives me all these descriptions of the Sabian symbols. And this is my Bible. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but not only is this one of the spots where the book is broken open, it's literally taped together at this point. But this book, and I believe this is the only spot this has happened in, it hops from Gemini 25 to Gemini 27. There is no Gemini 26, which is your symbol. Okay? I don't know if you can see that, but over here is Gemini 25, and up here is Gemini 27. It's crazy. I opened this up, and of course there's 360 symbols, so I can't remember. But it's like, it's totally gone. It's totally missing. Yeah, and what I just realized as I'm saying this to you, it's because they mismarked it. They have Gemini 25 and then they didn't fix. Gemini 25 appears twice, but the symbol is right. I just noticed that because I had to look your symbol up elsewhere. But frost-covered trees against winter skies is in here. It's mismarked. And this is meaningful because it really, I was like, oh, like a book that this is like a significant piece of work right here. And I was just flabbergasted. But this speaks to when our mind and our creativity and our do energy, because you pick the sun, when that is in that go mode all the time, it's just things like this. This is the energy that's being pointed to, that the moon wants to slow you down and say, wait a minute, because we're in such a push mode to make things happen that we push through and we don't see these fine details that to somebody like me who uses this like a Bible, I'm like, oh my God, there's no Gemini 26. And now I'm just seeing it's just that it's a typo. And it just speaks to the sun can be so industrious and so passionate that it sometimes loses the finer details of life. And the moon is calling you to take a look at those, to step back, to just say, take a breath and take in the details. The fox really studies all the details before it starts venturing out to go after its prey or go into hiding, find a place to take cover. And you just, I think the call to you is to really think about taking in those finer details. I think you've got the energy there, inspiration plus, but it's just, the moon can help you. The moon illuminates some of these magical happenings, like that waking up and seeing the beautiful winter scene in front of you, seeing the glint of the snow. And those signs and signals can be helpful in helping you hone in on a certain direction instead of trying to be all that, all of it. Okay? So that's my message on the sun. I feel the energy. We just want to and use the moon to help you tune into some specifics that can get you there in a more targeted way. All right, everybody, that's our full moon reading. Just going to be powerful energy, very powerful. If you would like a personalized reading with me, either cards or astrology, I offer those on the Blue Sky-shop, shoppe.com. Those are done as a recorded reading, just like these videos, so you can watch them as many times as you want. Or I host in-person sessions at my office in Newport, New Hampshire, if that's of interest. All right. Check all that out online, and I will hope to see you next week. Let's have a wonderful full moon experience. Lots of higher wisdom coming through. Have a good one. Bye-bye for now.